Hey, what's up, guys? We're going to be going over New York compression, parallel shenanigans, and some other stuff using effects in Ableton. So I have to kind of show this diagram to explain what's going on. So the signal goes in to this little box. Just pretend that this is a splitter, and what it does is it splits the audio into two, and it branches off. One goes to the effects, and then one goes right to this wet dry knob, and these two are mixed together via 50%. So that's the only diagram we're going to be looking at. You can also see this as taking a track and then splitting it up into parallel tracks. One has the effect, and you mix them together. Wet, dry, parallel, all good. Okay, end of diagram. We're going to be doing some fun stuff to acoustic drums because it's the best example. Kind of boring, but we're going to be figuring it out. So we are going to drop in our glue compressor. You'll notice that there's a wet and dry, and also in our regular compressor there's a wet and dry. Same rules apply, and you're basically mixing the signals. You'll notice that like a reverb also has wet dry. Hopefully you knew that. So we're going to heavily compress this. This is something called New York or parallel compression. It's taking a signal that's heavily compressed and then mixing it with a signal that's not heavily compressed. So the non-compressed signal goes through with the compressed signal, so you get the dynamics of the original, but then the beefiness of the compressed signal. And we're going to be doing that right now. So first we're going to have it on 100%. We're going to be bringing the threshold down. Right, when you bring the threshold down, you are bringing the volume down. So we're going to boost the makeup gain. Right, so that is, compressed. And we'll on off it. Right, but we lost a bit of low end. I'm going to turn soft clipping on just because it sounds harmonically pleasing. Right, there's a lot of bite and like grab, and it's very, very reactive at this point. And yeah, what we can do from here is bring it down to 0, 0, 0, and bring the wet dry up to mix the heavily compressed signal in. Right, so we have the original mixed with the compressed signal. And you'd want to find a sweet spot there. All right, so here's how you do it in another way. Just straight up duplicate the track. Solo one of them, and let's add the other compressor. We'll have it on 100% wet. We're going to aggressively compress this guy with our makeup and everything. So we'll bring the threshold down. We'll set it to something very intense, 7 to 1, something like that, probably. And we'll bring that up, and our knee. So that is very compressed. What I'll do is, for the sake of our ears, I'll just drop a limiter in there. So essentially we have two compressors, and it's very compressed. You'd be like, oh, you lost all your dynamics. What are you doing? Are you high? Probably. So we're going to set that down to off, infinity, negative infinity dB. So we'll have our original signal going with all of its dynamics and goodness, and I'll just bring the volume up. Right, so you have that snare. Sounds a lot more interesting compared to this. Right, that sounds like a sad snare. But with this, we have a very aggressive snare with the makeup gain and all that fun stuff. Right, mixed together. Oh, I might want to put it up. So right now we have something that's a little bit more interesting than what we started out with, and that is with parallel compression, splitting the signal. And it's all good. So that's two ways to do it, and I'm going to be back with some other fun parallel shenanigans, because why not? All right. be right back and take care.